guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm continuing from where I stopped in the last video. I was reading RAKE, and the video was already too long after reading the prologue and giving the blurb and a little bit of description. So I decided that I will read the first chapter and the epilogue in the next video. So this is here as promised. If you want the audiobook, you have to go in the comments. Let me know you really want it. There's my email, my Instagram ID. You can DM me there or email me and let me know, so that then I'll upload and I'll give the link to that person who wants the book for a price, or we'll decide on that. And so yeah, I'll start. Chapter 1. Bella. Present day. Uterine malformation? I repeated numbly, staring back at Dr. Bjorn. It's Bjorn. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to go for Bjorn. Yeah, something like that. I felt ridiculous in my tight red pencil skirt and cropped white shirt. One leg flung over the other, my high-heeled Prada sandals dangling from my toes. Everything about me screamed woman. Every other than the fact that apparently I couldn't have children. That's what the ultrasounds indicated. My OBGYN gave me a sympathetic look, somewhere between a flinch and a grimace. We ordered the MRI to confirm the diagnosis. It was peculiar that the thing I thought about in the moment wasn't the implication of my condition, but rather how profoundly and oddly hairy Dr. Bjorn was. Like a teacup Pomeranian, though not half as cute, he appeared to be in his early 60s, salt and pepper hair covering most of him. From his bushy eyebrows and wild mane to the fluffy tufts on his fingers. His chest hair curled out of his green scrubs, like he was hiding the chia pet. Explain to me what this means again. Uterine malformation. I cupped my knees, sending him a lip gloss smile. He shifted in his seat, clearing his throat. Well, your diagnosis is uterine septum, the most common form of uterine malformation. This is actually good news. We are familiar with it and can treat it in various ways. Your uterus is partially divided by muscle walls, which puts you at the risk of infertility, repeated miscarriage, and premature birth. You can see it right here. He points at the ultrasound photo between us. I wasn't in mood to make direct eye contact with my failure of the uterus, but I looked anyway. Infertility. I wasn't in habit of parroting people's word, but what the shit? Infertility? I was barely 30. I had at least 5 more years to make gorgeous, memorable mistakes with random men before I needed to think about having babies. Correct? Dr. Bjorn nodded, still mesmerized by my lack of emotion. Didn't he know I had none? Paired with your PCOS, it could be an issue. I'm happy to discuss the next step with you. Wait, I raised a hand, waving my red-tipped French manicure back and forth. Go back to the abbreviation. what? PCOS. Polycystic ovary syndrome. It says in your file that you were diagnosed at 15. Right. Things were a bit hazy when I got to hospital that time. I'm guessing it's not good either, I deadpan. He swiped a thumb on his phone. To me, it was a low point in my life, but to him, it was just another Wednesday. It could cause more infertility issues. Great. My womb gave Monica from Friends a run for her money. I wanted to pick a fight. I turned my wrath towards doctor. What does it even mean? I huffed. Isn't uterine malformation an issue that develops over the course of a pregnancy? With another apologetic smile, Doctor turned to the screen in front of him and frowned, his bushy eyebrows high-fiving each other. He clicked his mouse to scroll through my medical history. Stupid mouse with stupid sound clicks. It does say here that you had spontaneous abortion at the age of 15. A spontaneous abortion? Like I decided to go with coffee with my friends. Dr. Bajor looked so embarrassed that I was surprised he didn't dig a hole in the carpet and disappear to the bottom floor. His eyes asked me if it was true. His mouth did not. He knew the answer. Oops, I smiled grimly. That's right, must have forgotten. I was busy a year. Doctor stroked his furry arms. Look, I know this is overwhelming. I let out a throaty laugh. Please, Doc, spare me the "we are here for you" leaflet speech and let's get down to business. What are my options? You have plenty of options, he announced, perking up. This he could work with. Solution, fact, science. There are ways to ensure your future parenthood. If you become interested in becoming a mother, of course. I was tempted to say no. It wasn't about changing diapers or waxing poetic about stick figure drawing live. That motherhood was a force of disempowerment for women in high patriarchal society. To some extent, I even believed this post-feministic ideology. After all, I was a self-employed business owner whose life ambition was to piss people off. I would smash a pickle jar on the floor and eat it, glass and all, before I would ask a man to open it for me. Before I could even get the words out of my mouth, the truth was I did want to become a mother, with every fiber of my being. It wasn't sophisticated or ambitious or noteworthy, but it was true, which was why a few weeks ago I had paid my first visit to doctor to ensure my reproductive system was in pristine order and ready to go whenever I decided to go for it. Needless to say, it wasn't. Yeah, I shrugged, noncommittently. I am, I guess. Doctor cocked his head and frowned. He tried to decipher why exactly I was behaving like this. Like he was trying to sell me solar panels and I was blowing him off. Was I not an environmentalist? In that case, the first stage is to freeze your eggs. I shot him a sweet, impatient smile. Are you planning to carry your future children to term? Can I evacuate them during the second trimester? I yawned, checking my nails. Don't babies need to be fully cooked? What I mean is, your age should be one of your consideration. Each passing year, the risk of miscarriage and premature birth rises. What are you saying exactly? I pressed. You may want to consider surrogacy if you plan to have children later in life. Ideally, and considering the complication, if you're ready, you should try to get pregnant right away. But ultimately, I don't want you to feel rushed. A little too late for that, boo. I went from having 5 years to being tossed onto the highway of motherhood the minute he said that. Because again, what the shit? This wasn't my life. I was supposed to wait until 35, choose a hunky sperm donor. I wasn't even going to splurge and get the really expensive membership to the sperm bank so I could see the pictures of these potential men. Then pop a couple kids and create my own mini family. Next month seems like a good time to get pregnant, I heard myself say. Let me see if I can move my waxing appointment. Miss Penrose? Doctor chided, standing up to pour me a glass of water. He handed it to me. I gulped it in one go. I know it's not the news you wanted to hear. You don't have to be brave here. It's okay to be upset. This, of course, was untrue. Breaking down was a privilege other people had. I was programmed to be fearless. Life threw curveballs at me left and right. I glided past them like a cartoon character with a smile on my face. I picked up Chanel tote from the floor. If I need to get pregnant this year, I will. No man, no problem. I'll get a sperm donor. I hear they are tall, smart, good with numbers. What more can you ask for in a baby daddy? I let out a metallic laugh, standing up. The OBGYN remained seated, still staring at me in complete shock. Yeah, I know I'm heartless, emotionless, and as only 5 minutes ago, clinically wombless too. Don't you want to think about it? He asked. There's nothing to think about it. Time's working against me. I'll get a sperm donor and get it done. I also didn't have the kind of money it took to use a surrogate, plus, becoming pregnant was a part of the deal. In the past few years, I've watched my friends and sisters popping out kids like they were Pez dispensers, sporting around, beautiful bellies, and eccentric cravings and giddy smile as they mewed over the eternal question: pastel paint or wallpaper for the nurseries. I wanted all those things, every single one of their mundane, trivial experiences, other than one, the husband. Getting married wasn't in my plans. Men were volatile and untrustworthy, and above all, a danger to me. Well, in that case, doctor reached his hand out to me to shake. I'm prescribing you with 50 milligram of clomiphene. You should take it starting the second day of your menstrual cycle, the month you intend to get pregnant. 5 pills, one for every day for 5 days, to be taken at the same hour. Stay hydrated and watch your cycle. Ovulation tests are going to be your new best friend. When you find your perfect donor, let me know. I want to read through their medical history to see if they are fit for you. Wonderful. I turned around, swaggering my way out of the room, bolting before he managed to sneak in another grave diagnosis about my body. I waved the receptionist goodbye and got out of the building without any memory of doing so. I guess I was having an out-of-body experience. I advanced towards my sporty BMW when my cell phone rang. I fished it out of my handbag. It was my sister, Percy. Now, for all of those who don't know, there are 4 books in the series, and the first book is on Percy, that is Persephone. Her full name is Persephone, and her husband, Killian. So, if you want that book, go in the comment section and let me know. Okay. Hey, Perse. I greeted her warmly, no hint of distress in my voice. Pretending I had my shit together was an art form I had perfected long ago. Hey, Belle. Where am I catching you? Just got out of the OBGYN. Nothing like having your insides poked by a complete stranger with a magnifying glass. She sighed with what I supposed was genuine longing. Dang, she and her husband Killian were kinky. Everything okay down there? I heard my nephew, Astor, making exploding sounds in the background. He loved imagining shit was blowing up when he was playing Legos. That kid was becoming 99% tyrant, and I was here for it. Auntie needed brand new icebreakers, and have a dictator nephew was a great conversational topic. My bag is in immaculate condition for someone who is overworked and underpaid. I slid my designer sunglasses up my nose, strutting along the street. Yeah, you need anything? My sister and I spoke at least 4 times a day, but she didn't normally ask me where I was. Maybe she wanted me to babysit Astor? Now that she'd had a newborn baby queen, the most handsome little dude on planet Earth, she often needed a helping hand. Nope. Mom is coming over to take care of the kids. Celine is taking me out on a date, our first since Quinn is born. I just had this weird urge to call you to make sure you're okay. I don't know what came over me. My sweet, intuitive baby sisters lamented. Percy Fitzpatrick, was everything I wasn't. Romantic, maternal, and a rule follower. Oh, and the wife of the richest man in America. No big deal. I came to a halt, propping a hand against the red brick wall. Salem Street sprawled in front of me in all of its summer glory, sprinkled with bakeries, colorful cafes, and flowers spilling from the huge basket. No, Perce, you were exactly right. I needed to hear your voice. Uneasy silence filled my ear. When Percy realized I wasn't going to elaborate on why I needed to hear her voice, she said, Is there anything I can do for you, Belle? Anything at all? Can you have a baby for me? Can you fix my uterus? Can you erase my past which screwed me up so thoroughly, so exhaustively that I can no longer trust anything and anyone other than myself? Just hearing your voice is enough. I smiled. Love you, Belle. Right back at your purse. I slipped the phone back into my bag, smiling nonchalantly at the thought nothing was amiss. And then I felt my cheeks wet with furious, unstoppable tears. Was I full blown crying in the middle of this main street? You bet your ass I was. Bawling was more like it. Gasping for air worked too. My tears were bitter and hot, full of self-pity and fresh anger. The unfairness of my situation made my breath catch. Why was this happening? Why me? I wasn't a bad person. Actually, I was a pretty kick-ass one. I donated to charities, babysat my friends' kids, and always bought Girl Scout cookies. Even the lemon up, which let's admit it was so bad, they should have been illegal in all 50 states. Why was having a kid going to be more difficult for me? If it was even possible, when everyone around me fell pregnant whenever their husband so much as asked them to pass the salt. Dejected, anxious, and confused, I stumbled straight to the temple. No, not the place where you can pray. A place calm, a place called Temple Bar. Getting drunk in broad daylight might not be the smart thing to do, but I'm sure it was comforting. Plus, I need to be pregnant before going to party tonight, and I was definitely partying tonight. I pushed the door open, stormed to the bar, ordered a tall glass of whatever the hell would get me drunk in record time. An aftershock and glass of wine coming right up, the bartender saluted, slapping a polished cloth over his shoulder and pulling a steam-filled glass from the dishwasher. I slumped on the bar stool, massaging my temples as I tried to process my new reality. It was either have a baby now or pretty much never. Tourists and professionals lounged in the green wooden booth, enjoying pints of guineas, cordials, and Irish stews. Irish folk songs belted from the speaker, jolly and full of mirth. Didn't the world know I was hurting? The place looked like an authentic Irish pub with ornate high ceilings and liquid-soaked walls. The bartender came back with my drink before I could burst into spontaneous tears. I haven't cried since I was 5, maybe 6. I wasn't going to start turning on the waterworks regularly now that I found out I had to get pregnant at 30 while financially insecure. I downed the aftershock in one go, slamming the glass on the counter and moving straight to the wine. A tall, dark, handsome type appeared in my periphery. He popped an elbow against the bar, his body tilted in my direction. Aren't you Amabel Penrose? Aren't you a middle-aged man with enough life experience to know better than to interrupt people when they are trying to get drunk? I snapped, ready for another round. He chuckled. Feisty. Just like I thought you would be. I wanted to say I appreciate your business model and your ass. Both look great hanging from a billboard in front of my building. He leaned forward, about to whisper in my ear. I swiveled on my stool, grabbing his wrist in a death grip and twisting it down, rotating his entire arm in the process, on the verge of breaking it. He let out a moan, squeezing his eyes shut. What the fuck? It was my turn to lean towards him. The fuck is I am trying to enjoy my drink here without getting sexually harassed. Think it would be too much to ask? My being an owner of a burlesque club doesn't give you the permission to try and feel me up. Just like if you were a dentist, it wouldn't give me the authority to lie on the dinner table at the restaurant and ask you to fill my cavity. Now, beat it. I pushed the guy, sending him careening across the bar, back to his stool, spitting out profanity in his wake. He grabbed his coat and stormed out of the bar. Whoa, is your day as bad as the hangover you're going to have tomorrow morning? The bartender grinned at me impishly. He looked like in mid-20s with ginger hair and shamrock tattoo on his forearm. My day is worse than any alcohol poisoning recorded on planet Earth. I smacked my wine glass on the bar. Trust me. Do not trust her, she's a flirty one. A posh English accent chuckled 3 stools down. The person it belonged to was shadowed in the depth of a bar. A stain of darkness concealed his elegant stilettos. I didn't have to squint to know who it was. Only one man in Boston sounded like power, smoke, and an impending orgasm. Say hello to Devon Whitehall, also known as the bastard who broke my strict one-night rule. He made it to third hookup before I came to my senses and cut him loose. From the moment we jumped each other's bone about 3 years ago at my brother-in-law Cillian's cottage in the woods, I knew Devon Whitehall was different. He was a dangerously mild creature, the scholar out of his group of friends, manipulative, arrogant, and in league of his own. Other men around him had glaring shortcomings. Cillian, my brother-in-law, was a cold fish in a suit. Hunter, my best friend's husband, was loose-tongued and goofy. And Sam, my best friend Ailing's husband, was, well, a master murderer. But Devon had no giant sign warning you to stay away. He wasn't damaged or broken or angry, at least not outwardly. Still, he had that same untouchable quality that made you want to burn like a meteor, which would inevitably reduce you to nothing but cinders. He was everything a woman wanted wrapped into one godlike package, and that package had a state-of-the-art body, down to the codes. Michelangelo's Moses forearm muscles that made my IQ drop to room temperature whenever I touched them. I had to put a stop to our rendezvous after the third hookup on the ground that I wasn't an idiot. I always like to say that where there's a Willie, there's a way. But in Devon's case, he looked like the kind of dude I couldn't actually catch feelings for. That hookup after we had an amazing night, Devon turned around, dropped his head on the pillow next to me, and did something outrageous and vulgar. He fell asleep. What do you think you're doing? I asked, appalled. What's next? Taking me to dinner? Matching Minnie and Mickey Mouse hoodies? Binge watching a series? Sleeping? He said in his patient, everyone around me is an idiot tone. His blue eyes and silvery like molten ice blinded open. A devilish smirk formed on his lips. I sat upright, glaring. Go sleep in your own bed, bro. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I have an early court day tomorrow, and please do not use the term bro. Excessive use of common monikers is indicative of poor linguistic culture. Cool story, bro. Do you have a Western version of that sentence in English? And then, because I was really tired, I said, never mind, just get out of here. Are you talking the Mick? He wore a blank expression like it was full-blown tux. Out. I had marched over to the door and tossed out his clothes and loafer. He stumbled out half-naked in my hallway, collecting the designer items from the floor. Truth be told, it wasn't my finest exhibition of character. I was overwhelmed with throat-clogged fear that I would get attached. Now Devon was in front of me, all tall and gorgeous and screwable. I caught his frame in the fright of my sight, hands in pockets, square jaws, as sharp as a blade. Calling me untrustworthy is libel, Mr. Hotshot Lawyer. I puckered my lips, slipping into the role of the ball-busting siren. I wasn't in mood to be quick-witted, eccentric belle, but that was the only version of me people knew. Actually, it's a slander. Libel is when the false accusation is written. I could text it to you, if you're so inclined. He turned to the bartender, tossing a black Amex card on the counter. One stinger for me and a top Collins for the lady. Why, yes, His Highness. The bartender flustered. Sir, what should I call you? Devon quirked an eyebrow. I would honestly prefer if you didn't. You're here to serve me drinks, not hear my life story. With that, the bartender was off to the grabs. I don't see a lady anywhere in this vicinity. I mumbled into my glass. There's one right behind you, and she's quite fit. He deadpanned, face stoic. One of the good things about Devon, and unfortunately there were many, was that he never took life seriously. After I had shamefully banished him from my bed, he had stopped calling me. The next time we had met, however, at Christmas party, he had hugged me warmly, asking how I was doing, and even showed interest in investing in my club. He behaved as if nothing happened, and to him, I guess nothing had. I don't know why Devon had never married, but I suspected he suffered from the same relationship phobia I was prone to. Over the years, I've watched him parade one woman after the other. They were all leggy, stylish, and held degrees in subject I could hardly pronounce. They also had shelf life of an avocado. Devon never tried to get with me again, but remained wryly fond of me. The way you were fond of childhood blanket you used to snuggle with, but could not be caught dead in the same room with it anymore. These days, he made me feel chronically undesirable. What's got your knickers in a twist? He asked, running his fingers through his thick hair. Streaks of cool wheat in gold. I wiped my eyes quickly. Go away, Whitehall. Darling girl, your chances of evacuating an Englishman from a bar on a Friday afternoon are slim to none. Any requests I can actually fulfill? The casual benevolence rolling off of him made me nauseous. No one was supposed to be that perfect. Die in hell? I pressed my forehead to the cool bar. I didn't mean it. Devon had only ever given me good conversation, compliments, and orgasms, but I was really upset. He slipped onto the stool beside me, flicking his wrist to check his Rolex. I knew he wouldn't answer me. Sometimes he treated me like an 8-year-old. Our drinks arrived. He pushed the Tom Collins my way, handing my glass back to the bartender quietly. Here, now, this will make you feel better, and then significantly worse. But since I won't be there to deal with the consequences, he gave a careless shrug. I took a sip and shook my head. I'm not good company right now. You would have a better time striking up conversation with the bartender or one of the tourists. Darling, you're barely civilized and still better company than anyone in this zip code. He gave my hand a quick but warm squeeze. Why are you nice to me? I demanded. Why not? Again he sounded completely at ease. I've been nothing but horrible to you in the past. I thought about the night I threw him out of my apartment, planning that he would somehow find a crack in my heart, pry it open and sneak into it. The fact that he was here, pragmatic and unbothered, just proved that he had heartbreak written all over him. That's not how I remember our brief but joyous history. He sipped his stringer. I kicked you out. My arse had suffered divorce. He offered a dismissive flick of his wrist. He had nice hand. He had nice everything. No need to take it personally. What do you take personally? Not many things in life, to be honest. He frowned, giving it genuine thought. Corporate taxes, perhaps. It's essentially double taxation, an outrageous concept, you must admit. I blinked slowly at him, wondering if I was beginning to see a hint of imperfection in this man everyone looked up to. Under the layers of manners and chiseled looks was, I suspected, a truly odd man. You care about taxes, but not that I humiliated you? I challenged. He gave me a smile that would make ice melt. Humiliation is a feeling. One must submit to it in order to experience it. You never humiliated me. Was I disappointed that our affair had run its course faster than I wanted to? Sure. But it was your right to end things at any given moment. Now tell me what happened. Devon coaxed. His accent seemed to have a direct line to that place between my legs. He sounded like Benedict Cumberbatch reading an erotic audiobook. No. He studied me coolly, waiting. It annoyed me. How confident he was, how little he spoke, and how much he conveyed with the few words he used. What do you want? We're complete strangers. My tone was matter of fact. I reject that framing. He slid a leaf of mint decorating his glass along his tongue. It disappeared in his mouth. I know every inch and curve of your body. You only know me biblically. I am fond of Bible. It was quite a good read, don't you reckon? The passage about Sodom and Gomorrah were rather action-packed. I prefer fiction. Most people do. In fiction, people get what they deserve. He bit down on a smile. Also, many would argue, but Bible is fiction. Don't you think people deserve to get what Don't you think people get what they deserve in real life? I asked dejectedly, thinking about the doctor's diagnosis. Devon rubbed a finger over his chin, frowning. Not always. He seemed so seasoned, so much older than me at 41. I usually went for men who were the complete opposite of Devon. Young, reckless, and unsettled. Guys I knew who wouldn't stick around and would not expect much from me. Disposable. Devon had an innate authority of a man who always had the upper hand. That royal male ethos. Why did I even hook up with you? I blurted out, knowing I was being bratty and taking all my anger out on him and allowing myself to do so anyways. Devon slid the pad off his finger over the rim of his glass. Because I'm handsome, rich, divine, in bed, and would never put a ring on your finger. Exactly what you're after. It didn't surprise me that Devon had figured the commitment issues I had. Also, arrogant, much older, and designated creepy family friend. I made a cross with my finger to keep him away, like he was a vampire. Devon Whitehall was my brother-in-law, Tillian's best friend and lawyer. I had seen him at family function at least 3 times a year, sometimes more. I'm not psychologist, but it smells like daddy issues and walks like daddy issue. An ice cube slipped between his full lips when he took a sip of his cognac, and he crushed it between his straight white teeth, a smile lingering on his face. I don't have daddy issues, I snapped. Sure, neither do I. Now tell me, why were you crying? Why do you care? I groaned. You're Killian's sister-in-law. He's a brother to me. If this is the part where you make me sound loosely related, I'm going to throw up in my mouth. You will be doing that tonight anyway. At the rate you're drinking, well, he wasn't letting it go, was he? I'm not giving you an inch, Whitehall. Why not? I gave you 9. 9 inches? Really? No wonder I still had vivid dreams about our hookup. For the last time, I'm not telling you. Very well. He leaned over the bar and plugged a cognac bottle and 2 clean glasses, slamming them between us. I'll find out myself. This was the chapter 1, and I am now going to read the epilogue, which I hope is not so big because this video is otherwise going to be super long, but I don't want to make 3 videos on Rake, so yeah, I have to put it in this one. So, Bella. Did you know that when a male and female anglerfish mate, they melt into each other and share bodies forever? When the anglerfish bloke finds a willing participant, he latches and fuses with her. He loses his eyes and a load of his internal organs until they share a bloodstream. Devon strokes my hand lovingly, peering at me from his seat by my hospital bed. Whoa, I say dryly, holding my breath to stop the pain. Sounds familiar. I turn to Nurse Peter, pretending she's not there, who beams at both of us like she's just given birth, popping my chart back onto the edge of the bed. I just felt another contraction, and this one was bad. So bad, I thought my stomach was about to rip in two. When is Dr. Bajor coming? Devon demanded, spurring into action. My wife is in pain. Your wife is not the first woman ever to give birth. Nurse, about to get punched, notes mildly. She moves to refluff the pillows behind me. Two different doctors came in for a checkup and said everything is perfectly fine. Dr. Bajor is dealing with some light traffic. He'll be here any minute. You can always opt for an epidural. She peers down at me, shrugging. Are you kidding me? I want this kid to know how much I suffered for her and hold it over her head for eternity. She laughs. I don't know why. I'm not kidding. Sweetheart, we're fine. You've still got time. Devin coos, stroking my hair out of my face. It's all nice and romantic, and yet I'm about to push an 8-pound human out of me without any drugs. I slap his hand away. Go get Dr. Bajor. As you wish, Mrs. Whitehall. He cannot speed out of the room fast enough, and I remain with nurse looking at me like I am crazy. Devon and I are married each other shortly after we came back from England. It was a small, intimate ceremony in Madame Mayhem. The bridesmaid wore red lingerie and garters and couldn't say shit about it. My wedding, my rules. Sam Brennan almost punched the wall down in a room when he saw his wife ushering me across the aisle in lingerie. Things have been really awesome between us, almost too awesome. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and think, today is going to be the day when I screw this up and bail on him. Or more often than not, today is going to be the day that he leaves me. That he finally understands I am too damaged, too broken, or simply too much. But somehow, neither of these things happen, and I finish my day in the same way. Draped over my husband, sharing our stories, experiences from the day, watching TV, laughing, and unveiling piece after piece of one another. I don't know, there will come a day when I eventually stop worrying that he is going to break me too. That day might not be today or tomorrow, but will arrive. Devin Whitehall, after all, is the man who taught me the most important lesson in life, that you can still believe. I got you a doctor. Devin bursts into the room now, panting. One you know, no less. Is it Dr. Bajor? I bark, twisting in my hospital bed. Is it just me, or is the baby half out? Something's going on between my legs, but for the obvious reason I'm not in a physical position to bend down and check. Better? Devin says as he and Ailing appear in front of me. My face falls. I am not letting this bitch see my vagina. But she is already walking over to the little sink and washing her hands, slapping on a pair of fresh plastic gloves. I've seen worse. Oh, I don't mean that. It looks fantastic. I just don't feel like I'm ready to take our relationship to the next level. I huff. But then there's another contraction and I scream, and Devin and Ailing rush towards me. Swevin, Devin utters in pain, wiping the sweat from my brow lovingly. I'm so sorry I put you in this position. You put me in about 27 different ones, and that's why we are here, I quip. Still don't want my help? Ailing elevates an eyebrow, because I am happy to call another doctor. Dr. Lim is here. Nurse, no one asked you volunteers, unhelpfully. I don't know, Dr. Lin, and Dr. Bajor is obviously too busy braving the Boston traffic. Fine, I throw my hands in the air. Fine, just get this baby out of me, Ash. Devin snatches my hand. Ailing gets to business, and 20 minutes later, just when Dr. Bajor enters the room full of apologies, Nicola Zara Constance Whitehall is born. And before you ask, of course I added Constance to make sure everyone knows she is a royal. I'm not exaggerating when I say my newborn is the prettiest I've ever seen. With smooth, pink skin, bright eyes, and the pinkest lips. She is fragile, innocent, and perfect. I want to protect her from every possible harm. I know I can't, but at least for now I can. But for later, when she grows up, all I can do is try to raise her to be as strong as her mother. My goodness, she looks just like her mother. Devin kisses me, and then Nicola, then hugs Ailing close. With my beautiful baby in my arms and my friends and family waiting outside, I know one thing: everything will not be okay. Because it's already perfect. Devin, 6 months later. I donate Whitehall Court Castle to the English Heritage Foundation. It becomes a museum. A part of me, an extremely minuscule part of me, is sad that I have given up the masquerade title, that I will not be in England to ensure Nicola inherits some sort of title. But most of me is glad I'm out of this place I could never truly call home. Nicola is growing at a fast pace. Constantly, she is sporting a shock of white curls that look suspiciously like ramen noodles. She tries to sink her gums into anything she can get her chubby hands on and is complete delight. Emma Bell got back to work a month ago. She appointed Ross the official manager of Madame Mayhem and is now focusing on her latest venture. She opened a non-profit organization for women and men who have been sexually assaulted, providing therapy and helping with finding work and getting back on their feet. Her new secretary, actually the person to replace Simon and do all the filing and administrative work, is Donna Hammond, Frank's ex-girlfriend. She has a baby boy now. His name is Thomas, and sometimes when he and Nicola are in the same room, they stare at each other with wide, "Wait, you are a tiny human too" expression. Now I'm picking up my wife from her parents. Nicola naps blissfully in the back of my Bentley. I catch my father-in-law watering the plants on the front porch and roll the passenger window down. "Hey John, would you tell Bella I'm outside?" He looks up from the flowers, smiles and nods. Dumping the hose on the grass, he walks into the house and comes back with my wife. Their arms are laced together and he opens the passenger seat for her and kisses her on the temple before taking a step back. "Drive safely," he instructs, peeking at Nicola in the back seat, smiling. "She's growing so fast." "Don't they all?" Bella murmurs. "I love you, Belly Bell." "Love you, Daddy." Belle and I drive to Logan International Airport. The entire journey, my stomach is in knots. "It's going to be fine," Belle assures me, rubbing at my thigh. "I know. It's just been a while." "She's still your family," my wife points out. "I know that too." When we reach the airport and unbuckle Nicole from her car seat and put her in the carrier strapped onto Belle, my wife automatically heads towards the stairway from the parking lot to the main floor. "No," I grab her hand, squeezing. "Let's take the elevator." She whips her head around, frowning. "You sure?" "Positive, darling." We wait at the appropriate gate, and even though I've put my family's woes behind me, I'm still on pins and needles. The dumb waiter has been sealed up shortly after I took control over the estate. It helped soothe some of my anxiety over my claustrophobia, but not all of it. When Cecily gave me a call and asked if she could come and see the baby, Nicola, I said yes. She wasn't, after all, my mother nor my father. She never tried to kill me. When I asked Belle if I could offer to pay Cecilia's flight and accommodation, she said, "Absolutely not. Let her show you that she's changed." And she has. Cecilia paid for everything for this trip with the money she makes working at the library near the university she goes. She's a changed woman. When I see my sister coming out of the terminal gate, I rush towards her, my heart feeling lighter. She looks the same. Perhaps she lost a couple of pounds, but her smile is different, genuine, carefree. We meet halfway, sharing a bone-crushing hug, and she cries into my shoulder. I let her. I know she feels it too. Orphaned. After all, when it was all done and dealt with, Ursula turned her back on her too and went to live in London with a friend. "Thank you for giving me another chance," Cecilia murmurs into my shoulder. "Thank you for wanting one." I feel my wife's hand on my back supporting me, hugging me from behind, making sure I'm never out of balance. "Come on," Belle says softly. "Let's go make some new family memories." And so we do. The end. So this is going to be the end of it. I've read out the first chapter and the epilogue in this particular video. If you've not watched the previous video where I've uploaded the blurb and the prologue, I'll put the link in the eye. Just go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching. If you watch, tell me in the comment section which is the next book you want me to read out, and then I can put on the audiobook. So, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like. Thank you.